break from the video to show you exactly what I'm using and how I'm using it. Oh, there you go. My GSF mice tail. Nice size fish.
Hell yeah.
Right on. And that caramel apple. Yeah, Spartan. There we go, good looking fish. Chunky bro. Say when. My GSF mice tail. Went to the Slimer, which is green. That's a chunky one.
Yeah, I saw the tail when it his first reach him or net.
Oh yeah, I can net him. I keep forgetting. I'm always in drop shot mode. That's a good 2, maybe a 3-pounder.
I saw the tail.
Mm-hmm.
How far did you have that one at?
Like 5 to 8 feet. Yeah, just do that little underhand toss. Oh yeah, that's good. That's 3 or 4.
Dude.
Nice size fish.
Hell yeah.
Right on. Oh, and I got him lip hooked too.
Yeah.
Stringer.
Oh, cool, yeah.
Yeah, there it is on that Slimer mouse tail. Let's get smoke.
Holy cosmos.
All right, ladies and gents, I want to take a quick break from the video to show you exactly what I'm using and how I'm using it. Now for the bait and weight, I'm using this rod right here, which is a Daiwa Spinmatic, an 8-foot ultralight rod, about medium fast action, which means the tip's soft but not too soft. And I got a Daiwa Legalis 1000 reel on here. I got it spooled up with Runkle 5-pound Power Fluoro, and it's basically a fluorocarbon coated line, so it's essentially fluorocarbon. It's just not pure fluorocarbon. It's excellent setup, relatively inexpensive. And let me take you to the bench now and show you the Carolina rig I'm using and how I'm hooking my baits and all those things. All right, guys, I'll show you the bait and weight setup I'm using out there. I got a basic Carolina rig, the 1/4 ounce egg sinker, Carolina keeper, and then I always use about a 14 to about a 24 inch, or you say a 12 to a 24 inch leader. I don't measure them, just kind of eyeball it. But what's cool about these Carolina keepers is you can just use a pair of pliers and adjust your leader length. So if you aren't getting bit at a certain depth, you can make it longer or shorter and keep playing with that. And really that's the secret with the Carolina rig is playing with your depth of your bait presentation with these floating baits. At the very end here, I have a number 12 mosquito hook, and it's very tiny. See if you can see it on there. But very tiny hook. But I was thinking the weather's hadn't been real cold for a long time. It's been hot and then cold. The fish have been acting kind of finicky, so I decided to go with a smaller hook, and it seems to have paid off. And these are these Owner number 12 mosquito hooks, and they work great. And then the baits that I was having the most success with are these Golden State mice tails. This one's Slimer, and this one's Sunny D. And Sunny D really works good there. They tend to be partial to green there, but for whatever reason, this orange and yellow, they really like that one there. So I always make sure to bring that one to the mud hole. I'll show you how I hook these up, and there's a couple different ways I hook them up. Usually I'll try midway through the worm, so I'll start right here and thread it just to where it starts to bend around the hook. I get a hold of it, it's so tiny. Just about like that, and then I push the hook through, and then I drag the shank of the hook and the eye into the worm. So it ends up sitting like that, if you can see that. And then the other way I like to do it is right through the top of the head, because lots of times they'll bite the head first. So I go about quarter way through on one side or the other and pop that hook through. So you're gonna have a lot of hooks showing. And this is lots of times if I'm missing bites, I'll do it that way, and usually that solves the problem, and I'll get a lot better hookups that way. So that's another way to do it. A third way is what's called a wacky rig, and I don't do this too much, but it's an excellent way to present bait because it causes a lot of movement in the water with your bait. So you just go right through the middle here, just like that, and you get a lot of action. So if there's any kind of movement or current in the water, that thing's going to be moving quite a bit. So I'll show you typically what I do at most lakes and Santa Ana especially is I only throw out my bait and weight between 5 and 10 feet off the bank, just beyond the curtain, as I call it, where you can't see into the water. I call that the curtain because usually the trout are right beyond that and they're looking for food. So as you can see in this clip, I just walk down and I do a little sidearm cast, like just real lightest cast as I can do with this 1/4 ounce weight, and that's about the right distance. Maybe crank it in 1 or 2 cranks and set it in the rod holder and done. At Santa Ana and lots of these lakes, you don't have to throw it out very far typically. Typically the trout are going to be in close. So that's the biggest mistake I see a lot of guys make, is they just heave that thing way out there, and typically they're not going to be out there. Most of the trout that are looking to eat are going to be in close, hunting the shallows looking for food. Alright guys, now into drop shot. I'll show you the rod I'm using. It's one of my usual mainstay rods. This is the Katana K5. It's a 7'6" rod, ultralight of course, with a medium fast action to it. And I have it paired with a Daiwa Presso 1000. I have it spooled up with 4-pound Phoenix iron feather braid, and that goes out to about a 5 to an 8 foot leader of 4 or 5 pound fluorocarbon. I either use the Runkle 5-pound Power Fluoro, which is a coated fluorocarbon, or a fluorocarbon coat I should say, or the Seagar Invisex in 4-pound. This one I think right now, I think there's some 5-pound Runkle on there, but I go back and forth between the Runkle and the Seagar. No real difference between them, just availability and what I happen to have on me at the time. So now let's go to the bench and I'll show you the rig and the baits I'm using, how to hook them up. Alright guys, here's the double drop shot rig I'm using out there. At the top of the screen there should be a link to my how to use the double drop shot video, and it shows you how to tie these up and fish them and all those good things. But it's a 5-pound Runkle Power Fluoro on here. I've got 2 number 8 mosquito hooks, and then it's down to a 1/16 ounce drop shot weight. And then the baits that I'm using out there that are working the best are these Spartan minnows in caramel apple, which is this one, and gold, pearl, and brown right here. They were working great out there. I went through many colors, but these seem to be the 2 that were working, at least on that day. The next day it could be all bright, so always change your colors. But I'll show you how I hook these on the drop shot rig. And the way I like to do it is I look at the minnow and the top with all the bumps that I call scoots. I like to think of that as the spine. You can see a little eyeball there, and then the rounded part is more the belly, so I consider that the bottom of the middle. So I like the hook to come out the top, and what I do is grab my hook here in my minnow, and I start at the very topmost portion of the front of the minnow, and I slide it in, and I push the minnow up to where it just starts to go around the bend of the hook, and then I push the point straight out the back, trying to keep it as straight as possible, and then I push the shank of the hook in so it's right up to the eye of the hook. So it's sitting just like that. Okay, and there's 2 reasons for that. One, it gives a good presentation, but the other one, the reason why I push it all the way up to the eye, is when I get bit by a fish, it's going to pull the minnow off so it looks like that. So when I feel unusual things that I'm not sure is a strong bite, but I get it back in and the minnow's looking like that and there's no moss or weeds on it, it's a pretty good indicator that a fish bit it, but it doesn't feel like a normal bite. So I have to key in on that and be more cognizant, so when I feel anything like that again, to give it a little quarter hook set and see if I can hook them up. Because lots of times on the drop shot especially, they'll do real short bites and you won't know what it is, or you won't think it's a bite until you see your baits looking like that, and then you're gonna go, oh, okay, they're short biting today, so I got to change my tactics and be a little bit more cognizant of every little thing I feel. Because lots of times you'll bump into rocks and other small amounts of debris in the water and it's not a fish. But some other times when they're short biting, you got to take the gamble and set that hook. Now I'll put up a video clip and I'll show you how I'm working these baits back. And basically what I'm doing is I'm casting it on out there as far as I can, letting it sink all the way to the bottom, and then I'm just raising my rod tip slowly with light bounces 2 or 3 times, and then I reel down into it, about 1 full reel crank, and I stop and I lower my rod tip. And what that does is it allows the bait to move a little bit, and then it allows a little bit of slack in the line. And what that's going to do is going to allow that minnow to drop down and sit still. So I just pause for a second and then I start the process over again. And 9 times out of 10, they're hitting it when it's paused or slack lined, as I like to call it. When it's basically falling back down to the ground, that's when the fish are picking it up. All right, guys, I hope that helps and clears some things up. Now let's get back to the video.
You're not that big. You can probably tighten it up. It's not a toad or anything, so. Here, if you tighten it up, because it's getting more and more tangled. There you go. There you go, good looking little fish.
Your experiences in life and all that stuff make you look at things a way, different way. See what I'm saying? Makes you like
that. Picked it up when it was slack line, you see that? Always with that slack line. I'm not gonna net this guy. I got the double drop shot on. Yeah, he is upset. Yeah. Oh, looks like he hit that gold, pearl, and brown right there. Good looking fish.
All right, ladies and gents, there you have it. Good times out at Sorrel. I always love fishing there, even though the bite can be difficult at times. But was there a clear winner, you know, the drop shot or the bait and weight? Really, on this day, neither. They both performed as good as they could. And the key, I guess, to this video, or when you're out anywhere fishing, is use what works. Try different things, because neither one was particularly hot. I had to grind on both to get those fish, and I stayed the whole day. That's another key, especially at Santa Ana River Lakes, or the old mud holes, I like to refer to it. Most of my videos, when you see me hooking up a lot of fish, it's usually between the hours of 1 and 4 in the afternoon. Usually the afternoon bite is much better than the morning bite, at least in my experience. I mean, leave a comment if you really kill them in the morning. I can't seem to get it done. It's rare. I could probably count on one hand the times where I really lit them up first thing in the morning. Very, very rare for me, at least. But you got to throw everything at them. If something's not working, change it up. Like even with the bait and weight, I was changing up my colors. You know, I was trying all kinds of different things to see. I knew the fish were there. Maybe a different color might break the bite open, and sometimes it does. Sometimes today it really didn't. It was just a matter of the bait and weight. Just be patient and keep checking your bait. And with the drop shot, I kept changing colors, and they were hitting best on caramel apple, which is a mainstay there. I've been fishing that ever since I started fishing Golden State fishing baits, and really caramel apple minnow is what really turned me on to them, because I did so well there at the mud hole with it.
60% of the time, it works every time.
Always stay in the hunt and always keep trying. If you lay out there and just take a nap, that's great. It's very relaxing, but you may not catch a lot of fish.
Not me. I'm in my prime.
Do what you can to keep it fresh, so to speak, and keep them fish interested. And with that, if you want any of the fine baits I use on this channel, there's a QR code right up here. So if you're interested in the Golden State Fishing custom baits, the Katana rods, the RHA spoons, or the WaterLand sunglasses, click on this QR code. It'll take you to a link tree, and it has all the links there to those companies, including discount codes, and you can save up to 15% off on purchases if you decide to buy some. So give them a look. And I've been mentioning a lot Max Fishing Reports. He's out on Instagram and Facebook, and he gives out great information on where the fish are getting stocked and when. If he gets any hot information, he'll go live with it. So definitely give him a look and follow him on either Facebook or Instagram. I do, and that's where I get a lot of my intel as far as where to go and when. So as always, make sure you leave comments. I love answering them. It also helps out other guys if you have better ways of doing it, because I assure you, I'm not the best.
I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence.
I learned every day, just like everybody else. So leave a lot of comments, and anything you've experienced, or if you just have questions, I'm happy to answer them, either on YouTube here or on my Instagram at Spanker Outdoors. And with that, as this video comes out, I will be at the mid with all the GSF guys, so hopefully that's going well. I know I looked at the forecast, it's going to be cold and snowy, which is brutal, but the fish love it. So we'll be fishing through it, and hopefully we have a lot of success. And after that, coming up, more mud hole. Hammett's getting a big stock coming up, I think, end of January. I'm going to go back to Parado. Had a lot of fun that day, even though the fish aren't the greatest, but I have caught some decent size Jess Ranch fish last season. I caught a couple fives, and I think one was close to a 7. So they are out there, so it's at least worth a try and giving it a shot. So hope to see you guys out there, and until we see you again, tight lines.